All right, everybody, welcome back. Good afternoon. We've got more to say about Tory Horton. And if you didn't watch the video this morning, go do so because it's part one of this three-part series talking about Horton. We started with the numbers. I gave all the stats and all the metrics that I think are interesting about him. Now we're going to talk about him as a bundle of traits. What does he do well? What does he need to get better at? And what might he just not really be able to do? So, Tory Horton is, again, a player that I really, really liked, and I was really excited about getting him in the fifth round. There's a reason why he was there in the fifth round, but I think the main reason why, honestly, was he got hurt. He got hurt, didn't have a very good 2024. I think that if he had stayed upright, he would have had another productive season and probably would have been at least a top 100 pick. Him falling to the fifth round, in my view, is kind of I think that it's a little bit of an overreaction to him getting hurt last year. I think that it's a little much given the fact that he's been healthy other than that in his career. So let's start with the pros first. I think there are a lot of pros and actually not that many cons, but let's start with the pros. Lots of college experience for a 22-year-old, 5 years, 51 games. I already talked about this, but at 22, it's very reasonable to expect he will just naturally get better. If he was 24, it would be harder to project that. So the fact that this guy has experience and is only 22 is nice. Strong combination of good size, great speed, and all-around athleticism. We covered this in the combine section where you see that he's not big, but he's pretty tall. He's fast. He's got that 4.41 speed, and he's a good athlete as well. And you can see that in his burst. You can see that in his explosion. You can see that in the way he works in the open field. So he's a good combination of the baseline traits you're looking for from almost any football player, but especially a receiver. He's able to hit his route breaks and cuts with speed and agility to get open. He's actually, I think, a really nice route runner, not in the sense that he runs a lot of different routes, but he is able to break on his route and cut with good agility in order to shake open. So the skill with which he runs his routes is quite good. Runs quality routes, like I said. The other element of route running that's good here is that he paces his speed out and he uses leverage. He will fake one way and go another way, get the defender leaning and realize, oh, I'm going to go here. There's not anything he can do about it because I already got him leaning the wrong way. He will pace his speed so he bursts at the right moment to break open. These are all things that receivers sometimes don't understand how to do when they enter the NFL. This guy does. The ability to shift gears while running routes is really important because you don't want to be going at 100 miles an hour the whole route. Sometimes you want to be jogging and then you burst at the last second to break open. Short area quickness and change of direction to make tacklers miss. He made a lot of tacklers miss during his time in college, and his punt return skills show that he should be able to bring that at the NFL level. So I like that stuff as well. I think that he's a guy who will be a handful in the open field. He's good at tracking the long ball over his shoulder with skill and precision. There were times in that Colorado State offense where he didn't really have the chance to do it because his quarterback wasn't really the long ball type. But when he did get opportunities, he looked like he looked like a guy who can do it. It's obviously the logical comp that people are going to make to this guy because he's, in a manner of speaking, kind of replacing him is Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett was a great long ball tracker over his shoulder. This guy can do some of the same stuff. I don't know if he's as good at it as Lockett. That's hard to tell until he gets a quarterback that can actually get it to him in those spots. Natural hands catcher, drops kept to a minimum for most of his career. So he doesn't let the ball get to his body a lot. The drops are mostly from 2022. Over his last 2 seasons, he dropped a total of, 5 passes. And again, some of that could be because of poor quarterback pass throws. Like, well, I don't know how good those spirals were, And I think that this is a guy who has well above average hands. He's really good at working through zone coverage and finding gaps in it. Really good at working underneath zone. Really good at finding the space in zone and sitting down in it, waiting for the ball. He is able to compete through contact to make catches. He's at least willing to get physical. He's not necessarily the best in the world at it because he is a little bit on the physically weaker side, but he's willing to go through contact, which we can't say about every receiver out there. Some guys really don't like getting physical. 2 years as a featured very high volume target at Colorado State. The rate at which he was targeted at Colorado State is not going to be replicated in any NFL offense or almost any player, much less Tory Horton. So he kind of was able to be honed in the crucible of a pretty brutal situation. When you get targeted that much and your team is not that good, you're going to get keyed on, and he still found a way to be very productive. And he's a good punt returner as well. Big plays, good consistency. That is something he brings to the table right now. It would not shock me at all if Tory Horton ends up returning punts for the Seahawks this season. And if he's good at it, that is a big improvement over what we had at the position last year. So I'm excited for that. Even if he doesn't do a lot as a receiver, we should at least get that. He's got a decent release package with skilled hands to fight physical corners. Now, I would say decent means he needs to get better because he is a little bit on the weaker side and he is a little bit on the short-armed side. So he is going to need to work on that if he wants to be able to play outside in the NFL. If he can't beat press, if he can't beat physical corners at the line, then you might have a situation where he needs to be put in motion a lot. Maybe he ends up a slot receiver, which is less interesting because of the personnel the Seahawks have at the moment. They have JSN, they have Cooper Kupp. They don't need another slot receiver. So this guy's going to have to continue to work on his release package if he wants to get on the field with guys like that on the team. He's got the body control to make acrobatic catches and grab off-target throws. He's got that sideline toe tap ability. He's got some great catches on his highlight reel where he's just reeling in passes along the sideline, dragging his toes. It's impressive stuff. Again, sometimes it almost makes you think of Tyler Lockett, which is going to be the comp a lot of people cannot help but make because Lockett's gone and now Horton's here. So I like the body control. I like the acrobatic ability. He's got a high football IQ, reads coverage as well, reacts to them. He's a guy that Colorado State liked to put on option routes where he would run a route and then make a read on the defense. And the way he finishes the route depends on what he sees. And they trusted him to do that. And for the most part, it paid off. He can affect the game all over the field. He can do short, intermediate, and deep. He didn't do a ton of deep at CSU sometimes because they didn't have a quarterback who could do it, but he can affect the field at all three levels. His college production came despite working with a substandard quarterbacks, like I said. He's got a slew of fakes and misdirects he employs for effective route running. Sometimes it almost looks like a one-on-one basketball player trying to isolate. It's good stuff. It's going to help him overcome his short arms when he's trying to release from the line of scrimmage. So that stuff's great, and he's going to need it. Does have some experience in the slot, which I think is important because it gives him a fallback in case he doesn't make it as an outside receiver. It increases the odds he can make it as a slot. And he does have limitations in his route tree, which we'll talk about more in a second here. But I do think that Colorado State's offense had much more to do with that than his ability. I think they wanted him running simple routes. So those are the pros as I see it for Tory Horton. It's a lot. It's really good, honestly, for a player that you got in the 5th round. Again, I think that people overreacted to the injury. Okay, so the cons. Now, everything I just said about his route tree is true, but it doesn't change the fact he only ran a few different routes in college. There were, we're going to get to this in the tape section, but there's some stuff he just does over and over and over and over and over again. And with rare exception, there's not variety. And he's going to have to expand out the tree. It's not going to come instantly. Just because he can do it physically doesn't mean it'll happen instantly. So some of the routes are going to just have to wait, and he's going to have to learn. He's a little bit on the weak side physically. He's got a lean body. He can get out muscled, which hurts him in contested catch situations. It excuse me. It does allow him to be out physicaled at the line. So definitely be wary of that. Arm length creates some concern about his ability to play outside in the NFL. I think he can do it, but he does have very short arms. So there's not a huge track record of receivers with short arms being able to make it outside. I think his speed is enough for it, but he doesn't have elite speed. It's just great speed. It's 4.41. It's not 4.3 speed. So there are some question marks there. It's not a guarantee. There is the nature of his significant knee injury he had last year that kept him out for several months. Now, he was good enough to compete at the combine, so it obviously isn't that big of a deal anymore. But I think it is worth noting that he is coming off a down year. More physical defenders will give him problems due to strength, like I said, and those are the guys who might blanket him a little bit. Limited utility as a run blocker. He might need to add some muscle if he's going to do much there. He'll probably have to add more to his release package to cut it in the NFL. And while he doesn't have a lot of drops, I think focus drops are his main hands issue. He's thinking about getting yak before he completes the catch. So those are the concerns I have with Tory Horton, but it's not a bad list at all. A lot of this stuff I think can be fixed. The routes I think will come. I don't think it's a matter of can. I think it's a matter of didn't. I don't know if the arm length is going to limit him. It may not. It might limit his catch radius, but I don't know if it's going to limit his ability to play outside. The knee injury might just be a fluke. I think it probably is. So overall, it's a nice list of traits. We're going to do the tape next, so stay tuned for that. See you guys soon. Go Hawks. Everybody have a good day. See you guys in a few hours.